Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining me on this episode. On this podcast, we explore topics of interest for professionals at the intersection of public health and entrepreneurship. My name is Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and I'm really happy that you've decided to join me on this episode today. I'm a public health entrepreneur, and I have over 25 years of experience in healthcare and in public health. And I've also been podcasting since 2017. This is one of my favorite platforms to share and consume information and build relationships. I'm just going to make this a very short episode and it's very timely. So if you happen to be listening to this episode as it's being released, then you'll be able to take action. If not, then you can still take something from this that'll be very helpful for you. Now, if you've been following our podcast for a while, you've noticed in just recently I had a stretch of episodes where I talked about networking strategies. I talked about setting a goal for the conference. I talked about strategies before, during, and after the conference. And then I started to speak a little bit about relationships. I've been sprinkling that kind of, throughout. So these last several weeks have been really focused on what my team and I are actually focusing on, very intently in this last quarter of the year. So if you happen to be, if you're planning to attend the conference that we're going to be at, which is the American Public Health Association's annual meeting, so APHA, this year it will be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it's at the very end of October. So if you're planning to be there, we invite you to stop by our booth and meet us in person. And I say us, I will be there. My team will be there. And we are excited. We're having a booth in the expo hall this year. And I attend every year, but I've not had a booth. This will be the first time that we're having a booth. It's a large conference. They have somewhere between 12 to 15,000 attendees to their conferences every year. And that's a lot of people. I always attend, like I said. I have a public health consulting firm, and I am on the leadership team for the APHA Epidemiology section. I've been for the last several years. And so I'm very involved in the business meetings for the epidemiology section during the meeting. And of course, attending the latest on the topics of interest around public health, networking with a lot of my clients. My consulting clients are also at this meeting. Sometimes they have booths in the exhibit hall as well, or sometimes they're presenting research. So I have a few of our primary clients, consulting clients that will be there that we're looking to engage with. And we have a lot of listeners for my first podcast, the one that I started back in 2017, the Public Health Epidemiology Conversations podcast. Some of you are familiar with that one. And if you're not, then certainly look it up. I'm very biased here. It's a great podcast. But that podcast has been around, like I said, since 2017. We have released new episodes every year since we started there. So it's well over 300 episodes on that show. And we've built a pretty substantial community of listeners around that podcast. So a lot of times I attend the conference, people will know me from the podcast. That's really very common to have happen. And then, of course, our work with our clients, building, establishing, and reinforcing those relationships is a real big part of me attending those conferences every year, as well as my work that I do within the epidemiology section. So I think in a future episode, I will talk a little bit more about how to make decisions on, which conferences to attend and things like that. That'll come later. I've talked to you a whole lot about networking and so forth, but I think it'd be kind of neat to talk about, the best place to attend. I think, to just put it here for you now, anywhere your ideal clients are attending and hanging out is a great conference for you to attend. So whether it's 12 to 15,000 or 12 to 1,500 or maybe a few hundred, it's really about the quality of the people that will be there and the use of your time. And I guess you can start calculating your RI, your return on investment of the time and money and energy to attend, and how you want to attend. If you want, sometimes I sponsor, and we will do ads in the programs for conferences that we can't physically attend. And sometimes we attend and engage, and sometimes we'll set up a booth, a table and network with people. So a big part of that, though, is asking yourself, who is my ideal client? And then are they attending this conference? And that's a good way to start to gauge, whether or not it's a good one for you to attend. So my team and I are very excited. We've got all sorts of things that we've ordered. And like I said, this is the first time we're having a booth at this conference, and it's huge. So there's so much involved in the logistics. I'm somewhat impressed, a little overwhelmed sometimes at the process. We've shipped a lot of our items directly from manufacturer to the offsite website or warehouse. I'm sorry. And so the warehouse will hold our products and that we want to have at the booth, and then deliver them to our specific booth at the right time. And then my team and I are going to show up and set everything up. And it's quite the process, but also checking to make sure that everything gets there around time. We're a little nervous because, sometimes you can order items that don't really print properly or there are mistakes. So there's no room for error in any of the items that we've, purchased and shipped ahead of time. So we'll just deal with all that when we get there. We're very excited. So I really want you, if you are listening, and then, like I said, if this is real time, and if you're planning to attend this conference, please come to our booth. We actually it's primarily for our consulting firm and the type of clients that we serve in consulting, but we will have also a section in an area with materials for public health entrepreneurs, because we also know that's a great place that people who are entrepreneurs and consultants in public health are attending those conferences. And if you are one of those people, please do come by. Let us know that you listen to this podcast, and we have a special little gift for you that we like to share. We have a lot of little things, but if you say, I've been listening to the podcast and I wanted to come by and meet you, I heard that you're going to be here, we have a few items that are specifically set aside to give to people that are listening to the podcast and come over to meet us. So try to do that in the first day or so, just in case they go pretty quickly. But we'll have a lot of different things that we can share with you. And most importantly, we'd love to just meet with you in person. I'm a hugger. So if you're a hugger, just come on up and give me a hug. I'll be ready. But if that's too much for you, just come on over and say hello. I would just absolutely love to chat with you and meet you in person, take a photo, and just enjoy the opportunity to put a face to these listeners and for you to meet with me and share any feedback, comments, and just chat. I'd like to know what your business is and what you do. And it would just be a great time. So I wanted to put that out there, which was, kind of the timing of my previous episodes around networking strategies. Now, if you have not listened, it's not too late. There are several episodes and they're broken down because I don't want people to miss any of the opportunities. Some of them very specific to what you do before you get to the conference, what you do while you're at the conference, and then what you do after the conference. So make sure you go back to let's see. It really starts around episode 53, where I talk about setting goals for the conference. And then 54 talks about before the conference, and it just continues on through. So listen to that little batch of episodes right there between 53 and 56, and they'll get you ready for for that experience. Even if you're not attending the conference that I'm referring to, then just remember that those episodes are there for whatever conference you're planning to attend. Okay. So, how to find us. If you're going to that conference, the conference name, it's not going to be Public Health Entrepreneurs on the banner. It's actually my business name, which is Dr. C.H. Huntley, and it's Epidemiology Consulting. But it's booth number 1118. If you happen to be, like I said, planning to go, you can remember Dr. C.H. Huntley, or you can remember booth number 1118. And logistically speaking, we're toward the back of the expo hall, kind of close to where there'd be a wellness setup. We're directly across from the DuBeaumont Foundation's booth, and our neighbor to our right is NASA. So they have a huge exhibit. So if you're in the general vicinity of us, if you're either at the NASA booth, or if most of you are familiar with DuBeaumont Foundation, and they have a pretty large booth. They actually have like a little chandelier that usually hangs from the ceiling. So if you find a hanging kind of chandelier in the exhibit that says DuBeaumont Foundation, we're right across from them. I hope to see you there if you're attending. Look forward to that. And if not, then maybe we'll cross paths at a future conference. All right. So one more thing before we go, I'd like to remind you about our Mastermind Group program. Now, it is best suited for established public health entrepreneurs. We work together online, and also we gather together in person for a 2-day retreat. We do this twice a year. Phenomenal transformation happens during these events. We have had entrepreneurs travel from all over to attend in person, and it's just amazing. Our experience online between those retreats in person just solidifies the relationships and helps all of the entrepreneurs really escalate and grow their businesses, really create momentum in their businesses toward the goals that they have. Enrollment is only open twice a year, in June and December. So as I'm recording this, this is actually going to be released right on, let's see, if everything goes as scheduled, it'll be released on October 21st. So, oh wow, time is just flying by. So we will be at that conference I mentioned to you between, I think it's the 27th through the 30th are the dates of the conference in Minnesota. And then right after that, that dumps us right into November. So we were going to have a Q&A meeting for people that have applied to our Mastermind Group program. And that'll be an opportunity to make sure all of your questions are answered. And then we will move right into a few weeks after that, the next enrollment. So that will be your opportunity to join us, which will be wonderful because our next retreat will be in February of 2025. And we're going to be in San Diego, California, and at a beautiful venue that I was actually attended last year, or actually earlier this year. And I knew at that moment I was going to schedule our retreat for there. So beautiful place in San Diego. So at any rate, the only way that we know that you're interested in our Mastermind Group program is if you apply. So if you go to our website, which is publichealthentrepreneurs.com, and click on Mastermind, then there's a whole page that describes and explains the details of our program and what we do. And then there's an application. You'll need to submit an application, and that lets us know that you're interested. And that's the only way that we'll extend the invitation to join us is to people who have completed the application. So there won't be a email that just sends a link to join. There won't be a social media post that says click here and sign up. The invitation is only extended to people who have actually applied. And this Q&A session that I'm talking about hosting at the beginning of November is only for people that have submitted the application. So we'll send that invitation to those people that have submitted an application so that we can talk to you more specifically about the program. Since we only open enrollment twice a year, we go through a good bit of effort to make sure that you understand everything that's coming your way with this program so that you can make a really well-informed decision and to make sure that it's a really good match mutually. You can also find the links to our Mastermind Group program in the description for this episode. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day.